Morning, everyone. So today I'm here to speak about the secret ingredient that we all need in order to create successful products, but also successful services, processes, businesses. So I'll dive into what it means to have a product thinking mindset, why we need it, and who needs to have a product thinking mindset. But first, I'll ask you a question. Have you ever had an idea for a product? Everyone who had or has an idea, please raise your hand. Great. I was kind of expecting this, I must be honest. Then my next question is, have you actually built the product or are you developing the product now maybe? Okay, great. We have at least a few hands, so that's good. Why I've asked you this question? Because the general belief is that creativity is enough to build a product. Or we believe that people who are creative, who have lots of ideas, that they have a product thinking mindset. So I wanted to check that assumption. So I did a small discovery. I did a survey where I had almost 90 participants. You can see here the roles that were mostly included. So the biggest percentage, of course, product people, product owners, product managers, 28%, then software engineers, around 25%, QA analysts, almost 10%, marketing and sales, around 50%, and other roles that are not directly involved into developing products like HR, administrative assistant, and so on, those were around 20%. So I've asked the same question, and these are the responses. 66% of the people responded that they had an idea for a product, and 34% responded that they don't have an idea. But what is interesting here is what lies behind these responses. Only 15% from those 66% said that they have a clear idea and they are already working on it. Maybe similar like we saw here. But the other 50% of the people said that they have some ideas, but they are not sure that they could develop those ideas further. Also, on a positive note, from those that responded with no, although they didn't have an idea or they don't have an idea about a product, they said that they're often thinking about potential solutions to problems that they're observing in their surroundings. So my next question for you is creativity enough to build a successful product? I think you'll know the answer before this guy gives us a hint. So yeah, I've actually confirmed that it's not correct to believe that creativity is enough to have a product thinking mindset and to build a successful product. Why is that? Because when we are creating something for a specific target audience, it's not enough to have just an idea what we want to build. It's more important how we approach building it. So the first takeaway from my presentation would be that building a product isn't just about what we build. It's actually more important how we approach building it. And for that, we need a product thinking mindset. And when I'm saying products, as I mentioned at the beginning, I'm not referring only to products, especially to digital products, like we are used to build. But I'm also thinking about everything that we are creating. Think about this. I'm creating a presentation for you now, and if I just go with, I know what I want to talk about, I'll create the presentation, I don't care who is there, I don't care if people find valuable my presentation or useful, then why should I present that? Will it bring some value? It won't. So that's why it's very important that every time when we are creating products, processes, strategies, but also businesses, it's important to think about how we are approaching that and not just what we'll build. Who needs a product thinking mindset? The first roles, we all know, product owners, product managers, of course, and designers, those that are most directly involved in product development. But also software engineers. A few days ago, I was inspired by a certain situation, and I wrote a post on LinkedIn. When we will stop treating software engineers as just executors? Because most companies treat software engineers like that. They believe that we should just give them the requirements, write the user stories, give them the acceptance criteria, and just wait for the delivery. But we must be aware that we're working with high-skilled professionals who have analytical mindset, and we must not waste that potential. So if we help our software engineers to develop or improve their product mindset, then for sure we'll be able to create even more innovative solutions. But who else? Also, maybe someone was expecting to see the software engineers here. So I'll say startup founders, entrepreneurs, investors, but also business leaders and executives. I was thinking a lot about the last one, business leaders and executives. Why is it important for them to have a product mindset, besides understanding why we are building a product? If we have a sales manager in a company, and he's the manager, right? He needs to define a sales process for his employees to bring better results, to have increased sales, and so on. So if he just goes with defining the steps, you need to do this, without considering how he will help his sales team to bring more results, to feel better, to work on their confidence, he won't have a successful sales process. So that's why it's important for all these roles, but also here we can include many more roles, like sales, marketing, everyone who is involved directly on or indirectly into product development or works somehow with products. Why is it important to have a product thinking mindset? Just summarize from all my insights, I would define 4 main benefits or 4 main values. The first one is value creation. When we have a product thinking mindset, we're focused on delivering value. As I said, value delivered to our final customers or to our end users, but also delivering value to our people, for those that work in the company. They can be salespeople, they can be HR people, or you name it. When we are delivering value, when we are focused on delivering value, we are actually focused, or we can be sure that we'll have sustainable returns and growth. The second value, the agility and adaptability. Having a product thinking mindset is being agile, being able to respond to all the changes that are happening and being able to adapt. Because people are so stuck sometimes in comfort zone, and it's so hard for them to adapt to certain new situations that they forget why they are doing something that they are doing. So being agile and being able to adapt to new situations, it helps us staying competitive. Then it helps with strategic decision making. It helps definitely to support our long-term vision. And the last one, when we are focused on being able to create value, to adapt to new situations, and to make strategic decisions, it definitely helps with long-term sustainability. And with that, we can ensure customers' loyalty, but also the loyalty from our employees. So yeah, finally, let's dive into the steps on how to develop a product mindset. I defined a plan or a roadmap, we can say, where based on my insights, I was analyzing a few successful businesses, but also a few successful leaders on how they're progressing and how they're approaching certain things, and I've defined a few steps. The first one, if you want to have a product thinking mindset, you need to have the skill of intellectual curiosity. What it means to have intellectual curiosity. Imagine this. You're walking in a forest, you're passing by different trees, and all of a sudden, you notice this tree. And instead of just passing by, like, I don't care about this tree, you stop and you start thinking, why is this tree like this? Why it has so weird branches? Was it looking for sunlight? Or maybe it was supposed to grow like this? Maybe something very specific about it. And then you go home and you start Google it, learning about different tree species or just asking the right questions, why this tree is growing like that. You want to learn more. You want to understand why is it different than the most trees that you know. So if we need to define with one sentence what it means to have intellectual curiosity, we would say that that is the ability or the willingness and the desire to learn new things and to dig deeper than just the surface. Most people are just used to learn about the things from the surface, and then they want to dig deeper. But if we want to develop or improve our product thinking mindset, we must expand our knowledge constantly. So on this topic, I've had another question in the survey, which was intentionally about physical products, just to see how are people thinking when they are doing some ordinary things, like shopping in a supermarket. So I've asked if they're considering what sets different brands of the same product apart from each other. There was a small group, of course, that was thinking that it's only the price and the product quality. Then another group that I've called casual thinkers, they thought it's only the price. Then 37 or almost 38% that I would say were normal people. They said that they are buying what they need without considering other brands too much. But there were 50% of the participants who responded that they keep thinking on how some brands make their products stand out, which proves that there is a group of people who actually have this intellectual curiosity, that they are not just passing by and not taking into consideration anything, but instead they keep thinking how products differ. So, how to develop intellectual curiosity? A few advices. First one, be more aware of the world around you. Don't just pass things. Don't just pass over people's ideas. Don't just look at a product and thinking, I don't care what this product it is about because it's not solving my problem. So be more aware of the world around you. Experiment and try new things. When we try new applications, new products, then we are expanding our knowledge and we are developing our intellectual curiosity. The third one, and my favorite, search for the why in everything. Don't think about the things like they are. Try to understand why something was built in the way it was built. Why is this happening? Why that process was defined like that? Why that person is behaving like that? Then surround yourself with curious people. When we are surrounded with curious people, it helps us or inspire us to be more curious, to ask more questions, to try to understand better. And let your mind wander. We are so busy with our everyday obligations that we are forgetting to have some time to just wander. And when we leave our mind to wander, then it's that point when our mind is expanding and actually new brain cells are developed. So in order to improve, or if you consider that you don't have this intellectual curiosity, I believe that these steps will help you. The next question from my survey is related to the next step of my roadmap for developing a product mindset. I've asked people when they're buying their favorite product, do they think about how the brand could improve it? 69% of the people responded with yes, and 31% with no. So almost 70% said that they often think of small improvements they could make to ensure that they will love that product more. And the other 30% said that they just love their favorite product and they don't consider any improvements. So what is this proving? When we're the target customer, when we have a product that is solving our pain points, it's very easy to come up with ideas about improvements or about new features, and that is like something that everybody can do. But the truth is, we are not always building products for our problems. We are usually building products that are solving other people's problems. So that's why, if we want to have the right product mindset, we need to have empathy. I must be honest, I've tried really hard to avoid mentioning empathy here, because empathy is so much spoken about in the product world that I feel that people are taking it for granted, and they're all saying like, yeah, we need to have empathy. But do they have empathy? In many cases, I've observed people are forgetting that they need to have empathy, or although they are aware that they need to have empathy. So here I will tell a personal story. Early in my career, I was working as a sales professional in a telecommunication operator, and my everyday job was to go to business meetings, to discuss with business owners or with C-level executives about their needs, about their business, to understand how our offer can fit their needs, and to help them or to convince them which offer from the business offer that we had will be the best fit for them. So one day, I came back from in the office from a meeting, and as I'm a very talkative person, I was explaining a lot about how this client is building his business, what are his needs. I've mentioned that our offer is not actually fitting his needs, that it will be too bad. I know that I need to sell this product, but I believe that it will be a big mistake because I think that that won't be enough to satisfy their needs. And then my team leader turned to me and she said, you know, Olgica, you'll never be successful in this role. I was shocked because I was doing pretty good in that role. And also I was pretty young at that point. So I asked, why do you think that? And she told me, because you care more about the customers and less about the company. So that statement started haunting me for days, months afterwards. If here are some salespeople, you will understand me. I started thinking if that could be really a problem for me, because I wanted to be successful. But many years later, when I've entered the product world, I've understood that I was doing the right thing. I was actually going to customers, discussing with them, hearing about their business, hearing about their needs, and if their needs couldn't be fulfilled with our offer, I was honest by saying that, and I wasn't forcing to sell them anything. So that's why empathy is important. I won't talk about what is empathy. We all know, right? There are so many articles on the internet about empathy and so many things that are said about empathy. I'll just mention a few things about what is not empathy, so we can all do a self-reflection to understand if we really have empathy for our customers. So feeling sorry for someone, affirming what someone says without understanding. Yeah, I understand, yeah, I totally understand your business needs. Yeah, but this is the offer, you know. It will suit you for some time. Agreeing with everything someone says. I've seen this in interviews. We are having an interview, we have a designer, we have a product manager sometimes, or we have someone from the user research team, and they're like, yeah, I feel you, yeah, I know that pain, yeah. And afterwards, when we're moving forward, I can hear something like, yeah, they're frustrated, but you know, that's not really a frustration. Yeah, they felt bad about that, but it's not that bad, they can use it still. Judging someone's feelings and being detached or indifferent. So every one of you who is actually dealing with people who are using something that you've created, just try to reflect and see if you're doing some of these things. How to develop empathy? I won't go here with a list of steps. I will give you one simple advice. Affirm every day. I am not my customer. I deeply understand their pains, and their pains are mine to solve. You can do it 5 times in the morning, 3 times in the evening. We'll do the job. The next step, the ability to distinguish assumptions from facts. Again, we're doing product discovery. We know we need facts, we need arguments to understand why some customers are looking for some feature, or why people are complaining about a process and what we can do about that. But again, somehow, we rely too much on our assumptions. And I've tried to discover why is that. So why do we choose assumptions over facts? I've tried to analyze and to learn more about this from psychological aspect. The first thing is the confirmation bias. So we as people tend to seek out and believe information that supports our existing beliefs. So our mind is used to search for information that is actually confirming what we already know. It's a natural process. The second thing is the emotional investment. This will be very familiar to all of you. People can become emotionally attached to their ideas or beliefs. We've all seen people who are coming and are saying, but this is the best idea. I know that the customers will really use this, but they didn't hear from the customers. They're just convinced. And you can see that they feel frustrated if we say that this idea is not the best idea and that we can improve it or that we need something else as a solution. Then the mental shortcuts. We all have mental shortcuts. It helps us to save energy and to be able to think about more complex things that we need to do through the day. So these mental shortcuts are usually used when we need to do some ordinary things like, I don't know, getting up from bed and doing some morning routine and things like that. But when we're following those mental shortcuts while working on building a product or building a process maybe, then that can lead to oversimplified or inaccurate conclusions. So we need to be aware how we can expand our knowledge and not to go with our assumptions and by using actually the mental shortcut that we already have. And the last reason is the lack of critical thinking. When we lack the ability to think critically, we are actually not able to take all the facts that we have or to admit that we are not doing something right or that we don't have enough information, and that's how we have a lack of critical thinking. So how to distinguish assumptions from facts? First, I would say self-awareness. Identify assumptions. Be honest enough to admit that these are just assumptions. I know that I have confidence. I feel really good about my assumptions, but still, they are assumptions. It might be just our mind playing tricks with us. Then question everything. We all know the techniques are familiar, or we can learn more about how we can learn more about our customers and which techniques we can use. Validate with evidence, critical thinking, just work on your mind, how to critically evaluate things, and that's it. The next step, or the fourth step, embrace experimentation. I came to this step with the idea that we all want to build perfect things. We all want to have the best ideas. We all want to build the best product. Even me, I want to have the best presentation. So we're starting with that point, that we all want to do something that is really good, that people will be blown away. But if we always think like that, we might fall in the trap that we are actually so good, so confident, and our product or our idea must be the best one. And afterwards, we can learn that actually it's not the best solution, or it's not the best product, then it's not the best process or strategy that we did. So this is me at the beginning when I had a failed idea. when I first got in tech. My first working experience as a product owner when I was building my first product, where I was a product owner, but I was also doing wireframes, mock-ups, I was a scrum master, I was a product manager, I was everything. So I was so in love with the product, and I've had a lot of ideas. I was working on my ideas, I was creating designs. And when I would go to the meeting with my CEO, and when I would share my ideas, and he will say something like, this doesn't seem quite right, maybe we can do it a bit different, or this won't be possible to be done, I was devastated. I was thinking in my mind like, damn, how I didn't think about this. Why I didn't go deeper with this. I should have come up with a better idea. I was devastated. Something like this guy in the picture. But this is me having a failed idea now. So yeah, very sad. Anyway, the only conclusion that I have when something that I will suggest or some idea that I will have won't go further is that, yeah, that wasn't the right idea, but I've learned a lot from this experiment. So this is a great experience. I've learned that customers won't like this idea, or that there is a better user experience, there is a better flow for this, and that's good. In my next product, with my next idea, I will be much better. So every time when your idea won't be accepted or when something won't be done as you would like to be, just have in mind this, that we need to consider everything as an experiment, and we must learn from every experiment. Also, one more advice. If you feel bad about your failed ideas, just visit the Google graveyard. Have you heard of this? I found out 2 websites. This is the one, Killed by Google, where actually you can see that Google has discontinued over 280 apps, services, and products. And here we are not talking about some startup or some idea from a local community. We are speaking about Google. We know that the best PMs are working in Google. We are hearing them at product conferences, right? They're the best. They work in Google. So it's not a proof that they are always building the best ideas. Yeah, they have the money to do more experiments, right? That's the thing compared to local companies. But again, they have a lot of failed ideas and a lot of unsuccessful products. And we are coming to the final step. Always deliver value to customers. That means set your mind that you need to deliver value. So whatever you do, the focus must be on delivering a value. The other day, I've had a presentation from a person that wanted to share knowledge about a certain topic. And she did many, many slides. She said many, many things about that topic. But it was useless. I didn't learn anything new. I didn't hear any new point here. I didn't learn about someone's mistakes. So although I think it was almost an hour, I didn't learn anything about that. In product management, we're speaking a lot about outputs and outcomes. So those that are already in product management know pretty well to understand and to differ what is an output, what is an outcome. But for those that are not familiar or that are not practicing this, I will give a simple explanation. When we have a restaurant and we want to include new dishes in our menu, the new dishes will be the output. Or by definition, features, tasks, deliverables we produce, those are outputs. But then the outcome from what we are building is actually to have happy customers who are not hungry. They're happy. They had a nice meal and they are now very happy and very satisfied. So the outcome must be the meaningful changes or benefits that result from our output. Why do we have a problem to differ output from outcome? And why do we focus more on output than outcome? I believe that the problem is because people tend to rush to solutions. Someone gave them a task, define a sales process. They are not spending time to learn more about the people who will be using that sales process or who will be affected by this sales process, or they are not giving time to understand the real problem there. They're just rushing to build that sales process, to define things, to prepare presentation, to build a product, to deliver the product. And that's the moment when we are losing the focus. And instead of focusing to outcomes, we are focusing on outputs. So how to focus on delivering value for customers? First, define your value proposition. I like to use this template that is explained in the Lean Product Playbook by Dan Olsen, who is speaking about product market fit, because it's doing a comparison between competitors, but also is showing clearly what kind of must-have benefits we need to have, what kind of performance benefits we need to have, and the delighters benefits we need to have for our product. So when you put in a list benefits that are must-have, performance, or delighters, you will have a clear picture what you want to achieve with your product. So the second thing is that one, to identify the key customer benefits. The third step is to have an ideation session where you will define features that will fulfill those benefits. So it's about connecting the benefits we want to achieve with the features we want to build. And with that, if we are able to define features that we are sure that they are actually fulfilling the benefits that we've defined in our value proposition, will definitely deliver value for our customers. With that, we're coming to the end of my presentation. My final advice would be not to forget that everyone who is included in product development, but also, as I mentioned, people who are building or creating something for a certain target audience have actually power to change people's lives. It's not that we've just delivered a product. With that product, we'll be changing people's lives by simply shaping their experiences and creating products that solve their problems. So we have this superpower to change people's lives, to change their behaviors by providing products for them. So let's not take that for granted. Thank you. I will be really glad if you want to add me on LinkedIn and if you want to ask me some questions. I don't know if you have time. I don't have a watch.
You have questions? Yeah.
If there's time, I don't know. Or if there are questions.
You have 4 minutes.
4 minutes. That's the questions?
Thank you. I have one question. Could you define, please, what do you mean successful product? How do you understand, is it successful or not? Exactly in some metrics, numbers.
Yeah. Should I speak about numbers or should I give the general explanation?
It depends. What do you think about it?
Well, what is a successful product? I would simply say if we can confirm that we have delivered value, because we are speaking about delivering value, delivering those benefits that we've said we'll deliver. I'm always explaining this to my students with a simple example, like if we define that we want to give our customers a benefit to save time, one of the most used benefits, right? So if we want to save time, and then we start adding search option, categorization, filtering, and so on, but then we build the product with so many features that the customer is, or the user is entering the application and he's confused what to start. Should he have a look at the suggested products or he should search for the products and so on. Then, although we were aiming to save his time, we actually did the opposite. So we've confused him and he didn't save time because he was looking through so many features and he wasn't sure what to start with. So in order to confirm that, we need to, of course, to follow data, to measure the success of our customers. But the main thing I would say is that to have numbers or to have data so we can confirm that that product has really delivered the value that we've promised to our customers.
Okay, thank you. Today morning we had a discussion with Phil. Phil doesn't hear, yeah. So, may I say my opinion? My opinion, so how I understand that the product is successful or not. I just look at the P&L report.
Which report?
P&L report.
P&L report.
Yeah, because this product can have a lot of users, but if these users don't ready to pay, or I have more expenses than revenue, for me it's not successful. And that's only one metric for me.
Yeah, I agree.
Thank you.
Great tip.
No more?
Thank you. If there are no other questions, we can move on to the next speaker.
Okay, let's give us some big applause for Olgica.